Hello, my name is Okono Obasi. I'm a UK-based academic and consultant. Today, I want to make this video. We've been having these debates about Biafra and all the crisis in Nigeria. But I just thought it's important to make this video and make the case for referendum. Now, this is not a case for Biafra. Now, some of you who've watched my videos will know that I am pro-Biafra, but this is not about being pro-Biafra. I'm simply going to make a case for referendum, a national referendum. Maybe you could even say a referendum for the people of Biafra. Okay, so we're just going to make that case so that even if you are not in support of having Biafra, you should agree to a referendum because it makes sense. Why does it make sense? Well, the first point of it is the legality of it. You have to understand that in Nigeria, we are dealing with a country that is in itself illegal. Yes, Nigeria is actually illegal. Let me explain. Nigeria was created by foreigners. You know, it was created when European countries in 1885 essentially carved up Africa. They carved up Africa and they gave the territory known as Nigeria to the British. And then by 1914, Lord Frederick Lugard decided to amalgamate northern and southern Nigeria together purely for administrative purposes. Okay, so there was no input from the indigenous people. There was no organic growth and emergence of a nation as you would have with most nations. Most nations would grow organically. Either they've come together to form a nation, either they've then liberated themselves from an oppressive regime and they declared themselves a nation through that process. Nigeria, there was no input from the indigenous people to create Nigeria. And then if you go on forward, when you recognize that when the Biafrans wanted to leave, they declared independence. They did declare independence in 1967. And they seceded. The process of bringing them back was through genocide. And genocide is illegal. So you cannot have a country that its unity is based on illegality. And then if you fast forward to 1999, when Nigeria has its present constitution, that constitution was written by a military dictator. And the document professes to say we the people. That declaration of we the people is a lie. The 1999 constitution was not written by the people. It was not written by the representative of the people, democratically elected. It was written by a military dictatorship. So that in itself makes the constitution that Nigeria has now a lie. So if you go back, you will see that the constitution is a fraud. The country itself is a fraud. So the only way you can establish legality of the country is to have some kind of democratic mandate from the indigenous people to say we want to be a united country. And that can only come from a referendum. That can only come from a referendum. And it's not so far-fetched to see how that is done. In 1961, the people of northern Cameroon were given that option. Some of them decided to stay in Nigeria, some decided to, people from southern Cameroon decided to join Cameroon. So that has actually happened, where people are given a choice to say, tell us what you want, tell us what your preference is. And they vote through a referendum and they decide, and that decision is respected. So it's not some far-fetched idea. It gives the legality of the nation. Nigeria doesn't have that. A referendum would give that. The other point is that a referendum will bring back unity. Well, you would ask, how does a referendum bring back unity? Well, how it does that is by ensuring that whatever choice, whatever outcome the people choose in the end is respected. So you have a scenario where if in the end people decide they want to remain as part of one country, then that unites everyone. Or if they say we are going to part ways, then those nations in themselves become united entities because that is what they chose for themselves. And once you have unity, you're going to have peace, you're going to have prosperity, you're going to have progress, which is something Nigeria doesn't have now. It is better to have peace, even if it's in segmented parts, than to have a country that is currently, as it is, completely disunited, no progress, no peace, no tolerance, and nothing is moving. The third point is that it is democratic. A referendum is a practice in democracy. Now, obviously, it is a way of exercising the right to self-determination, which is recognized and guaranteed under practically all laws, all international known laws. And it allows people to say what they want. People should not exist under tyranny. You cannot keep people who have expressed an unwillingness to remain as one. You cannot keep them one by force. It cannot work. It is not sustainable. It is not going to work. So the only way you do that is to get that democratic mandate to say, we as a people have either chosen to remain as one or we have decided democratically to part ways. Whichever way it is, you have to have a democracy. You cannot practice a democracy where you're holding people together by force. It simply will not work. Okay? That is just not realistic. Then the other point is that it's peaceful. Referendum is one peaceful way that we can resolve the conflict that is happening in Nigeria. The conflict is that there are people who have said they want to go. Now, you can say, yes, well, they can't go. Well, they've expressed that right, and it is their right. Now, you can only silence them by arguing that their position is not popular. And the only way you prove that is by holding a referendum. You cannot say, no, you simply cannot hold a referendum. No, you have to have a way of resolving the conflict. And the way to resolve the conflict is not by killing people. You cannot kill people into unity. You cannot jail people into unity. So the fact of the matter is that the agitations will not stop. They won't stop. You can't kill everyone. So the only way to resolve this conflict is to have a referendum. There is no other way that you resolve this conflict where people are constantly agitating and saying they want to leave. The only way you bring that agitation to an end is to hold a referendum. And I think it's better to have it earlier than to let it ferment, because the more it ferments, the worse it becomes, the more people die, the more conflict, and eventually people are going to have to answer for these things. All of these violence, people are going to have to answer for it. Not to mention the loss of life, loss of property. So the peaceful way is to hold a referendum. So in a nutshell, if you believe in democracy, you believe in the right to self-determination, you believe in peace, then you have to support a referendum. And so this is not about supporting Biafra, and I think that is what people tend to get confused about. You don't have to support Biafra to support a referendum. I mean, in Scotland, here in the United Kingdom, Scotland had their independence referendum in 2014. There were Scottish people who were on the yes side. There were Scottish people who were on the no side. So there were Scottish people who wanted independence, and there were Scottish people who didn't want independence. And they had the campaign, and the people who wanted to remain won. And that's why they're part of the UK right now. In Catalonia, there are people who want independence, and there are people who want to remain part of Spain. In Northern Ireland, there are people who want to join the Republic of Ireland, and there are people who want to remain part of the UK. So it is quite possible to have divergent opinions, okay? There are people who are in Biafra who support independence. There are people who are Biafrans who support staying part of one Nigeria. That is perfectly okay. We can have that conversation, we can have that debate in the context of a referendum campaign, and then let the people decide. There is no need to kill anyone. There's no need to jail anyone for simply saying, let us hold a referendum. There's absolutely no need for that. And people who argue against referendum are actually the people who are fomenting conflict, because you're saying to someone you cannot exercise a right, and that's wrong. That's wrong. You cannot stop someone from exercising their right. You can make the argument and say, okay, in what terms can we exercise this right? Work out the modalities, have the debate, and let the outcome speak for itself. You cannot continue to stifle the right of a people to self-determination. I don't see how anyone who believes in democracy, who believes in the rule of law, who believes in the right to self-determination can legitimately argue against a referendum for the people of Biafra. They have that right. They have expressed that right. They should not be killed to suppress that right, and they cannot be held in Nigeria by force indefinitely. The only way we resolve this conflict, the only way Nigeria can move forward one way or another, is to come to terms that there has to be a referendum for the people of Biafra. And that's it. Once you recognize that, then you have to then work out the modalities for it, hold it peacefully, and then we respect the result and move forward. That's what I think, and that's the conversation we should be having. And I hope we are mature enough to get there. Take care, everyone.